Philippine architecture covers a myriad of expressions, forms, types, styles, and periods. Its primeval expression resided in nature. For the early Filipinos who were defenseless before the violence of wind and rain, the cave was a refuge, a place of dwelling. For the most part, the said shelter had always been there, ready for use. But it needed to be reclaimed and made safe from predators. Constructing cave dwellings only required minimal site work and modification, as the shelters took advantage of the structural properties of earth or rock formation in the caverns. The earliest dwellers of caves in the Philippines were the Pleistocene people, offsprings of the Ice Age. Perhaps the largest cave dwelt in by prehistoric families periodically for 30,000 years is the Tabon Cave Complex in southwest Palawan. It is 138 hectares of rugged cliffs and deep slopes. The cliffs and slopes around the area are punctured with more than 200 caverns. There are other examples of cave shelters and rock-hewn architecture that were once inhabited by early Filipinos. The petroglyphs in a rock shelter in Angono, Rizal, provides evidence of the ancient Filipino's effort to embellish his habitation. The mountaintop citadels of Savidug, Batanes, known as Idyang, is a testimony to the sophisticated defensive engineering of the early Ivatan settlers who carved the hard limestone formation to create vertical walls. Emerging from the caves, our ancestors initiated the first architectural revolution with the invention of stone tools for cutting fibrous materials, plant stems, and wood. A fibroconstructive technology. This technology helped develop the temporary tent-like shelters made of wooden skeleton and vegetative or animal skin. In the Philippines, this fundamental act of building is epitomized by the lean-to windbreak, or the windscreen, which is structurally anchored by a pole or stick at an angle on the ground. The lean-to is the early dwelling of the Aita. This transient architecture is an inalienable aspect of their nomadic lifestyle. Another architectural institution fashioned by nature is the arboreal shelter or the tree house. Tree houses are usually found in areas where violent intertribal conflict and nocturnal raids are frequent. These houses are perched in the forked branches of trees 20 or 40 or even 60 feet above the ground to protect residents from animals and human enemies. The rice terraces of the Cordilleras is a masterpiece of pre-modern engineering and megalithic architecture, altered by human hands to accommodate pond-field agriculture. The original landscape was once covered with woodland. The amount of stones used by the Ifugao in constructing the system of stone walls, canals, dams, reservoirs of the terraces is estimated to far exceed in bulk those used in building the pyramids or the Great Wall of China. The terrace network spans the provinces of Cordillera's Mountain Province, including Ifugao, Bontoc, Kalinga, and areas of Abra. The walls reach up to a height of 6 meters, and in some cases 16 meters, configured in a range of shape and gradient. Every terrace construction in the Ifugao Highlands contains 3 basic elements: the terrace base, the embankment, and the soil body. The cultures of Southeast Asia are descended from a common ancestry based on affiliation with the Austronesian family of language. The Austronesian culture is characterized by a worldview defined by a waterborne lifestyle, which manifests itself in the vernacular architecture. In the Philippines, this architecture professes a strong allegiance to a greater Austronesian building heritage. The archetypal Austronesian house consists of an architectural system of a raised wooden structure, typically consisting of a rectangular structure elevated on posts with a thatched pitch roof. These architectural features are contingent on a monsoonal and aquatic-based way of life, as settlement patterns have a direct connection to bodies of water. Because water is a means of transportation, communities were developed along sheltered bays, coastal areas, and mouths of rivers. The features of Austronesian dwelling are best embodied by the Bahay Kubo. The term translates literally to cube house, suggesting that the height of the wall is equal to its width. The house posts mark out an approximately square interior space. The lineal dimension is 3 to 4 meters. The house is constructed using wooden structural components configured in the post and lintel framework, supporting a steeply pitched thatched roof. The dwelling is distinguished by a living floor raised on sturdy stilt foundations with a voluminous, well-ventilated roof cavity above, providing a straightforward solution to the environmental problems imposed by the humid tropical climate with seasonal monsoon rains. Pile foundations have several advantages in a tropical climate. Piles raise the living floor above the mud and flood waters which occur during seasonal monsoon rains, while providing excellent underfloor ventilation in hot weather. The underfloor space, known as silong, is often used for storage or as a corral for domestic animals. It can also provide a shaded daytime workspace for tasks such as weaving and basketry. In many areas, house posts simply rest on top of foundation stones rather than being driven directly into the ground. This ensures that the building has enough flexibility to survive earthquakes in this seismically active region. At the same time, should one wish to move house, the entire structure can literally be picked up and carried to a new site. Until recently, these houses were constructed entirely of botanic building materials: timber, bamboo, thatch, and fibers, assembled without the use of nails. A quintessential method of construction is exemplified by vertical house posts and horizontal tie beams that provide a load-bearing structure to which floors, walls, and roof are later attached. The main framework, usually a box frame, is fabricated using sophisticated jointing techniques, while the walls, roof, and other non-load-bearing elements are typically secured by wooden pegs and vegetative fiber lashing. The frame is usually first put together on the ground and then taken apart to be reassembled again in a place on top of the posts. The walls of vernacular structures are made of light windscreen, which provides protection from the elements and secures privacy for the residents. The walls may consist of matting, palm leaves folded round a lath and stitched together with a strip of rattan, flattened or plated bamboo panels, as well as wooden boards and panels, depending on the use and status of the building. In the Bahay Kubo, wall sidings may be of nipa or sawali. The sawali uses bamboo that has been split, flattened, and cut into strips that are woven together in herringbone design, which makes the house like a basket. Windows of the awning type have nipa or palm window lid that can either slide from side to side or be pushed out by a pole. There are usually no ceilings or room divisions. Sawali walls may divide the interior space into rooms with open doorways. Internally, the raised floor consists of the most essential compartments, a single multifunctional space whose use transforms throughout the day to fit the daily routine of the household, or a 2 to 3 unit quarter consisting of a living and sleeping area, a kitchen or storage room, and an open gallery at the front or rear of the house, called balcon or batalan, respectively. The gallery serves as an anteroom or lounging area. When located at the rear, it is used for keeping water jars or used as a place for bathing. As the household members increase, or when the family ascends the social ladder, extensions are added to the basic form of the house. Behind the house, near the batalan, is a kitchen which has a separate roof and window with a hanging slatted rack called banguera for drying dishes and kitchen utensils. The liquid kitchen slop is poured through the interstices of the split bamboo lath floor. The most distinctive feature of the Austronesian vernacular architectural form is the extended line of the roof, often with outward sloping gables forming elegant saddleback curves. Although Philippine vernacular houses generally lack the graceful curve characteristic of the saddleback roofs of the architecture of the Minangkabau in Sumatra, their hip roofs are closely related to the saddleback type. As in most Southeast Asia, the roof is the dominant architectural feature of most dwellings. In some cases, the house is mostly a roof, as seen in the pyramidal roof of an Ifugao dwelling, and an older bahay kubo. Vernacular dwellings are thatched, a generic name for any roof covering made of dead plant material other than wood. Grasses and palm leaves are the most widely used traditional materials. Despite its combustibility, thatch is watertight and may last more than a century when effectively laid out so that water runs off the entire surface consistently. Cross-gable finials, which hold the rafters together at the ridge, are an ever-present feature of Southeast Asian roofs. The ornamented ones are made by crossed poles that meet at the apex of the roof. Although the Tausug-sungan roof is decorated at either end of the house by a horn or crescent-shaped tajukpasong, which is usually a stylized manok-manok or bird, or naga or dragon design, with swirling fern-like ukil carving. The naga, Sanskrit for serpent, represents the Austronesian cosmological model in many Philippine Islamic artifacts, as well as the universality of water in the daily life of Asia-Pacific. In the monsoon-beaten Batanes Islands, the dwellings are designed and built not only to withstand the battering of the most severe of storms, sea sprays, gusts, and rains. They are also built to overcome devastating earthquakes. With knowledge of processing lime for building, the Ivatans are able to construct their more familiar houses made of stone and mortar known as calicanto. The most common type is a one-story house with a partially submerged basement used as storage referred to as sinadumparan or maituab depending on the roof configuration. Two-story houses are called raku. Very thick stone and lime masonry are topped with gable or hip roof. An elaborately crafted truss system with a combination of bamboo, reed, rattan, and